Labubu used to be a niche designer toy, a quiet obsession inside the blind box collector world.
Is it the rare?
But now, it's a global hype machine, sparking six-figure resale prices, celebrity endorsements, overnight queues, a major movie deal with Sony Pictures, and a single livestream comment that erased millions in market value. Welcome to the toy brand that became a cultural phenomenon and a corporate roller coaster. Welcome back to the DR Pulse, where we stay on top of trends, brands, marketing, sales, and business strategies that are shaping the world. And today we're going to be unpacking the Labubu hype economy, Pop Mart's blind box playbook, Sony's big screen bet, and the live stream slip-up that shook investor confidence. To understand Labubu's explosion, you have to understand the ecosystem that it came from. Labubu wasn't born in a boardroom, it came from the underground designer toy world, where rarity is currency and fandom is religion. Casing Lung, the artist behind the creature, had already cultivated a cult following through limited hand-painted figurines long before Pop Mart industrialized magic. Pop Mart's genius was the manufacturing and distribution model, the blind box. Here's why that mattered. It engineered repeat purchases, as collectors weren't just buying a toy, they were chasing the unknown. Behaviorally, blind box mechanics activates the same dopamine loops as loot boxes, sneaker raffles, and trading card packs. It created built-in community interaction as collectors meet, trade, compare, hunt, and flex, and every pool becomes social content with TikTok unboxings, IG reveals, and Discord trades. It turned scarcity into storylines since Pop Mart strategically released regional exclusives, limited editions, chase variants, seasonal drops, and unannounced mystery characters. Each drop became an event, and every rare pool became currency. Secondary market value skyrocketed. Some ultra-rare Labubus sell for over $10,000 in Hong Kong resale groups. By 2025, Pop Mart's global revenue surged. Profits jumped 350%, and the company expanded across Southeast Asia, the Middle East, Europe, and North America with more kiosks and pop-ups packed every weekend. Labubu wasn't just a toy, it was a fandom economy. But hype isn't free, and it carries expectations, emotions, and a delicate sense of fairness. And that's where the machine showed its first cracks. The takeaway here is that scarcity drives demand, but identity fuels devotion. Labubu grew not because it was rare, but because it became a symbol fans wanted to belong to. But when fans sense the system isn't fair, even for a moment, trust evaporates. And that's exactly what happened next. The livestream incident wasn't just a scandal, it was a stress test for every hype-driven ecosystem worth billions. During a routine Pop Mart broadcast meant to showcase new Labubu designs, an employee casually mentioned the internal employee price. Collectors instantly compared it to retail prices. They did the math, they saw the margins, and they saw the advantage. And in collector culture, perceived advantage kills trust faster than any defect or delay. Within minutes, the clip went viral on Xiaohongshu and Weibo as collectors accused Pop Mart of insider access, unfair distribution, enabling employees to resell, and manipulating scarcity. Retail investors pulled out, fearing the collectible bubble could pop. Pop Mart stock, already volatile, dropped sharply. Also, fans shared screenshots of rare pools allegedly owned by staff. Some claimed that Pop Mart were rigging the chase. The tone shifted from hype to hostility. This single moment exposed the underlying tension in all scarcity-based brands. When value is tied to rarity, even a whisper of unfairness destabilizes the entire ecosystem. Collectors weren't mad about the employee discount, they were furious about what it represented. The possibility that the game isn't equal. And their reaction was economically rational. In collectibles, trust is part of the product. Break it and value collapses. Our takeaway is that in hype economies, transparency isn't PR, it's risk management. A single comment can move markets because markets are built on emotion. Yet while the stock dropped, another part of the Labubu universe was rising, all the way to Hollywood. Sony Pictures' acquisition of Labubu's film rights marks a major shift in entertainment strategy. One where fandom precedes the franchise. Here's why Labubu became a Hollywood target. Number one is the built-in global audience. Labubu is massive across China, Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, and increasingly in the Western collector circles. This gives Sony a pre-packaged fan base that studios typically spend hundreds of millions trying to build. Number two is a strong visual identity. Labubu's character design is expressive, flexible, and instantly recognizable. Essential ingredients for animation, merchandising, and sequelization. Number 3 is cross-media potential. Just like Minions, Hello Kitty, and Lego, Labubu has world-building potential, character variations, storytelling hooks, and merchandising power. Sony isn't just buying a toy. They're buying a long-term IP asset with potential for movies, series, theme park crossovers, gaming, licensing, and even global merch. And they're buying in early before Labubu becomes even more mainstream. But this move carries risk. The moment a niche collector item enters mass media, it faces its greatest challenge. Can you scale without losing the soul that made fans care in the first place? Any misalignment, tone, design, narrative could alienate early adopters. Labubu built its empire on mystery, chaos, and cute culture subversion. Hollywood has to entertain that weird whimsical age or risk flattening the character into generic kid content. Our takeaway is that the strongest franchises today come from communities, not studios. Sony is buying culture, not plastic. But fandom-driven brands live and die on consistency, and Labubu's next challenge is balancing hype, trust, and identity at a global scale. Across the hype frenzy, the Livestream fallout, and the Hollywood leap, one theme ties everything together: expectation versus experience. For collectors, they expect fairness, transparency, and equal access. They want to believe every blind box is a chance, and that no one has an unfair edge. For investors, they expect stable growth driven by sustainable demand. A single viral mistake shows how quickly sentiment can flip. For Hollywood, they expect consistency, adaptability, and long-term cultural relevance. A brand strong enough to justify a franchise must be strong enough to survive scrutiny. And for fans, they expect protection of the law, the aesthetic, the essence of Labubu. When those expectations drift from reality, tension erupts. This is the core risk of modern hype-led brands. You're not selling products, you're selling emotional contracts. Pop Mart isn't in retail, it's in ritual. Collectors aren't customers, they're participants. Labubu's value isn't in plastic, it's in meaning. This is why the Livestream comment matters, why the blind box high matters, why the movie deal matters. Labubu is no longer just a toy, it's a relationship. And that relationship is being negotiated in real time across fans, markets, and media. Our takeaway here is that fandom economies amplify both reward and risk. The same mechanisms that create viral success also intensify backlash when trust wavers. So how do brands harness that power without losing control? The answers are in the Labubu playbook. Here are the key lessons that brands and agencies need to understand. Number 1 is to engineer hype, but design guardrails. Scarcity works, until it works a little too well. Brands must enforce the idea of purchase limits, anti-bot systems, fairness audits, transparent distribution updates, and collector-first communication. Hype without structure leads to chaos, but hype with strategy leads to longevity. Number 2 is build community equity before revenue. Labubu's biggest threat isn't supply, it's perception. Collectors value honesty, equal access, insider transparency, consistent drop patterns, and brand accountability. Community equity becomes financial equity. Number 3 is to anticipate speculation behavior. Scarcity mechanics invite resale markets. Brands must expect this and adjust for price inflation, black market activity, scalper behavior, and stock volatility. Brands that proactively address these patterns win loyalty and stability. Number 4 is treat every employee as a spokesperson. A single Livestream comment moved millions in market cap. That means that every employee interaction is PR, legal exposure, brand storytelling, and market signaling. Training isn't optional, it's infrastructure. Finally, a scale IP without flattening personality. So when products become media, the brand's soul becomes its differentiator. Labubu's charm lies in its weird, cute aesthetic, its playful chaos, its subcultural roots, its mystery, and its age. Hollywood has to preserve this essence to avoid losing early adopters, the people who made Labubu culturally relevant in the first place. Our takeaway here is that modern brand building is no longer linear. It's a triangle: community, commerce, and culture. When all three align, you get a phenomenon. When one cracks, everything shakes. Labubu's rise is a roadmap and a warning. If brands can decode the balance between hype, fairness, and identity, they won't just build audiences, they'll build universes. The collectible craze showed how hype can build a universe. The Livestream moments showed how fast brand trust can fracture. And the Sony deal showed how products become stories and stories become empires. Hype gets you attention, but community gives you staying power. I'm Rob, and this is the DR Pulse. If this breakdown sharpened your strategy, hit that like button, consider subscribing, and tell us in the comments below which risk is the hardest to manage in your opinion: hype, community, or culture. Thanks so much for watching.